I got to pick the topic this week. We're doing fielding position. So I know Matt's really excited about this because he's always considered himself a defensive specialist. So
And I love this topic because I feel like this is the topic that they teach you when you're like 7 years old and they go over the basics, and then nobody kind of talks about fielding position again until, I don't know, late in life or before, or never even again. So it's a good topic.
right, it does get overlooked. So I think it's a good thing to go over as one of our early videos, and we can get into some other stuff more in depth later. But
Yep.
anyways, number one thing we're looking at foot position because I'm always talking about working from the feet up, from the ground up. And if you don't have your feet right, they're pretty much everything else is going to go bad too. So your
Yep.
thoughts
100%.
on foot position right now.
Okay.
So what would you say the first thing that you think about when you think foot position?
I think I want to get my feet just slightly staggered. I want my left foot just slightly ahead of my right foot, and I want them wider than shoulder width so I can get into a nice squat so I can keep my chest and eyes up as I go to field the ball and get my hands out in front. So I want my feet a little bit staggered, nice and wide, little bit more weight on the left foot versus my right foot.
Yeah, we're doing that right left field. And I like how I was going to say the same thing you did with the left foot. I mean, we're looking, especially if you're at second base, shortstop, so you can create that angle. It kind of opens up that hip with that left foot turned a little bit towards first base. That way you're not closing.
And I like the thought of it. If you get more weight on your left foot, if you were to fall, you would fall directly towards first base. That way, like once you feel that ball and you get your momentum going, your momentum is directed right away towards first base just because your feet are in a good position.
Absolutely. Love that. So, and you touched on the next part that I wanted to bring up is that keeping that chest up. And by doing creating that angle at your hip, at your waist. So, I mean, essentially, if this is your legs and this is your waist right here, you don't want to get too bent over, where you can see the top of somebody's hat while they're fielding a ground ball. That tends to get you off balance, or you even would take your eyes off the ball at some point. But keeping that chest up.
You definitely end up losing that ball out in front because you can't see it. I almost think about like if you were to go down and put your knees or your elbows on your knees, and that's kind of the position you should get into with your legs. Obviously, we don't want to field with our elbows on our knees, but that kind of bent position is where we want to get to as far as like that angle you're talking about is.
And I think that's a good drill to do, which I did pretty much every single day before the game. I would start on my knees and I'd have a coach throwing me short hops. And I would focus on that angle at my waist, at my hips, not being too sharp of an angle, keeping that chest up if this is my chest.
Right. And a lot of this too is for vision as well. So if you get too much of an angle, you lose your vision out in front. So if that ball takes a funny hop late, you're not going to be able to react to it in time because you just simply don't have the vision to see it.
Right. All right. Going to hands from there. Now we got our feet set. We got our angle at our waist set. We're keeping our chest up, and we're going to our hands. And my favorite thing, and I even say this to older guys, like even talking in professional baseball, alligator hands, man. You can't. It sounds funny and it sounds childish, but alligator hands. I mean, if your hands, you got your alligator mouth, and if your hands are apart, and you have that open space right there, you get balls that go through. And it happens to the best. It happens to the best of us. So alligator hands, and I love that because the more you can open up this hand and present your glove, the more space for the ball to go into. And then this hand, the more space you have for a bad hop to keep that ball from hopping up and hitting you in the chest.
And like you're saying with that glove hand, a lot of kids that I see that I work with, their instinct is to put that glove almost like flat on the ground versus taking your fingertips and like shoving those fingertips towards the ground. So like you're saying, it gives you that entire opening of the glove for that ball to hop into. If my fingertips are flat or my back of my hand is flat on the ground, I've only got that palm area of my glove to where that ball can bounce into.
Right.
So you're saying
Perfect.
presenting that glove and getting those fingertips down gives you that entire area of that glove to
The
work
glove
with.
huge because that that last hop, you're not going to have much time to make an adjustment with your hands or your legs or your feet or anything. So really, the last ditch effort that you have is if your glove is like this, then you have a really good chance of the ball going under. If your glove is like that, and my favorite thought with that is palm out towards the ball. Push your palm out towards the ball. Because if you think push your
Yep.
finger or like scoop the ball, then you start pulling up, and then balls
Yep.
go in. See,
Yeah. And that's,
I'm waiting for you to say something that I disagree with, and I want to say this before we get any further. We don't talk about this stuff before we do it, so everything that we're saying is off the cuff. But I'm waiting for you to disagree, and we don't disagree on stuff, which is weird.
before we did this last week, I was thinking, in all the years we've been friends and the years that we played together, I don't think you and I have really discussed baseball in depth to like really any degree. So I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I can't wait to hear his viewpoints and see how they differ from my viewpoints on how things should be done. Because I mean, it's baseball. Things don't have to be perfectly done the same way. Like everyone's going to have their own little flavor to it. But
Yeah.
from approach to last week to now this fielding, I mean, I feel like we're talking the same thing, and I agree with a lot of things you're saying.
Well, it's interesting because usually when you talk to people who know what they're doing or have done it for a long time, there's, like you said, there's different ways to get to a certain position, but you got to get to that. And there's
Yes,
really,
100%.
and that's why we're trying to make this so small of a topic and keep it very specific, because we don't want to get all these other ideas thrown in there and get off on a tangent on something else. This is, very straightforward, looking for a fielding position. So I want to keep it going so we don't run out, because we always get off and start talking. So we got our hands at this point. We're fielding the ball. So we're
Yep.
from there. From there, I like people use the term funnel. You're funneling your hands from the fielding position in towards your belly, in towards your stomach.
Yep. And for me, this is where I see a lot of young kids get in trouble is they try to get their body going towards first base too quick, so they field the ball and they don't funnel. They instantly shuffle towards first base, and now their hands end up back in here, and now my body's not centered. So now when I go to throw, my right arm's ready to go, but my left arm has so far to come. My body's not balanced. So I love that thought of getting that ball into my belly button before I even start my shuffle towards first base, because now everything is balanced, everything's at my center as I go to shuffle. So now I can just separate and throw with good power under me. Whereas if my hands get left behind, my legs are moving too quick. Now I've got no power. So that funnel is key for me in making a good throw to first base.
Yeah, it creates a rhythm, because if you look at a pitcher, you never see a pitcher with his hands out here when he does a leg kick and then goes straight back to throwing like that. There's
Right.
always there's always something that where they come in towards their body. And it's the same
Right.
thing when ground ball. It creates a rhythm and it creates a space for you to get that arm into a throwing position, because nobody's going to go field a ball like you said out here and then just go straight out to throwing. You're probably going to blow your shoulder out.
Yeah. And when you play long toss, you shuffle and throw, but it's not like you shuffle, keep your hands here, and then once you land your shuffle, you separate and throw. It's all moving together, like you're saying, that rhythm. And so getting into here will allow you to basically do the same exact technique you do when you play catch, when you long toss and throw the baseball to now get that ball to first base quickly and accurately and efficiently.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with you.
You're not supposed to
I,
agree with everything I say, man. It's supposed to
I,
we're supposed to have some.
I want to argue. I want to have opposing views. Next week, you got to come up with something where we disagree on a bunch of crap.
We'll go something controversial. We'll talk launch angle.
Yeah. So, all right. That was super quick, really basic. We're going to get more in depth with stuff. We're really trying to stay surface level right now and then move on to things that are a little more intense. So I think we covered most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. You got anything else you want to throw onto it?
Yeah, one thing I want to close with is especially with youth fielders, make sure that your focus is on securing that baseball with two hands. Like, do not be worried about your throw to first base until you've got that ball secured with both hands. Because if you don't have that ball secured, you can't throw the ball to first base anyways. Too many kids that I worked with and I see get in a rush and they try to get their bodies moving towards first base way too fast and they leave the ball behind. And, at that point, it kind of becomes like the Tasmanian devil. You move too fast, you drop the ball, and it's like a scramble to get it. And then it's a mess. So
If you
my
got to
number one advice is make sure you secure the baseball before anything else.
if you got to take that extra shuffle, take that extra shuffle. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
better than throwing the ball in the stands, and now they have a double. So you
Right.
might as well secure it, get the ball over there. If you don't, I mean, maybe you need to work on your transfers, or maybe you need to work on your shuffle, or whatever it is. But take that extra time to secure the ball, and especially at the young levels, the young ages, securing the ball, like you said, is a huge thing.
Huge. Because, like you're saying, you just don't want to turn into like a merry-go-round where they throw the ball over first base, and now that kid ends up on third, and then the guy from first baseman throws over third baseman's head, and it becomes a disaster real fast. So secure the baseball.
All right. So we got our feet, we got our angle at the waist, we got our chest up, we got alligator hands. We're pushing through the ball with our palm, keeping that good glove presentation, replacing our feet, and securing the baseball.
Yep.
Did I
Getting that baseball in. Simple.
Right? Just do that every time, and you'll be a big leaguer.
Hey, I figured out after I got done playing that if you just hit a home run every single time, you would never get out.
No, hey,
That
nobody
easy,
on the other side of the fence, right?
Baseball is very, very simple.
This has been Andrew Romine here with Matt Hall, Hall 9 Romine Baseball Talk. Appreciate you guys joining us. Like, subscribe. I don't know how this stuff works, but we'll figure that out later.
It'll be on the screen somewhere.
Yeah, click some buttons for us and pass it along to your friends. We're going to be on here every week. We'll see you guys soon.
See you next Friday.